Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and you may recognize this game. This is the game that was featured yesterday on the channel from my Friday night live stream. But it is not from my perspective, it is from the perspective of the friendly Smolensk, who so kindly helped me get that incredibly awesome game out. Turns out he had an amazing game as well. You may have noticed what happened in the video from yesterday. I won't spoil that for you guys that haven't seen that video. But after you get done watching this video, I would highly recommend that you go watch that video so you can see it from my perspective. And what happens in this game is some really good teamwork between the Smolensk and I. He does a fantastic job being a proper cruiser supporting his teammates, and that's how these amazing games can happen. And I'll point out what he does when it happens. So those of you that watched yesterday's video or this stream from Friday knows how this game opens up. And for those of you that don't, I'll let you figure it out here in a second. And I gotta say, it is pretty cool seeing it from Glob's here. I think his username is Gobsmack. Also his YouTube name is Eric, so I'll probably just call him Eric because that's easier for my brain to remember. So Eric here, he gets spotted pretty early on. He's being detected and concentrated on by 3 ships right now. I mean, it's a small link, so everyone wants the thing dead. It's not exactly a... Well, it's a popular ship for sure, but it's not a well-received ship. And you can see, the enemy Smolensk has just been spotted. I have fired at it, and well, if you look at chat, at the kill feed, I mean, well, there's now one less Smolensk on the waters. So yes, I did get a devastating strike from that Smolensk. It was all pins, and those. I mean, it was all citadels and pins. There was no mag detonation. I just hit him with most of the shells from my Ohio, and, well, did him in. So anyway, that's a pretty good way for a game to open up. So my Eric here is going and supporting C. After he got singed there from flying a bit too close to the cap, he's backed off, and now he's waiting on this Z-23 to come and poke his little head out. And this is actually a pretty close game. Those of you that watched yesterday's video know this, and those of you that don't, this game gets pretty dang tense. And I know I say that probably more often than I should have, but this game gets really down to the nitty gritty, especially at the end. So Eric knows that there is a destroyer in that smoke. He saw the muzzle flashes from him, so he takes some pot shots at that. But then he gets detected, and the Des Moines that's firing at him now is also detected. And again, the Smolensk, for those of you that don't know what this ship is, it is a Soviet light cruiser with 16 guns. She has 4 turrets with 4 guns per turret, and it's not like the French guns where all the barrels are lined up. They're in kind of like a square pattern. You got one in the right corner, one in the left corner, one in the lower right corner, one in the lower left corner. It's an interesting design to say the least, and he gets one fire on the Des Moines, and Des Moines immediately puts it out. He also gets some hits on the Z-23 before he can get behind that island cover. And what's interesting to me is, and I don't know Eric's build, he didn't send it in with a clip, but he sure does not get a lot of fires with his Smolensk. Smolensk is best known for, you know, being a flamethrower, as you can see. And in one of the first replays, actually the first Smolensk replay, and there he goes, Eric gets the Z-23, I'm sorry, Z-52, so that's his first sink of the match. Anyway, so Smolensk is a really good fire starter, but it just looks like RNG just does not like Eric, and you'll see what I mean by the end of the video. And in the first Smolensk replay I featured on this channel, the ship started, like, I think it was 32 fires in a match. And I believe the Smolensk driver got like over 1,000 hits, and he started 32 fires. Just keep that ratio in mind when by the end of this game. So my Yami here has sailed into the range of Eric's Smolensk, and Eric is getting his rainbow going on. You see, he's getting a lot of non-penetrations. You notice that with Smolensk and Colbert replays, they get a lot of non-pens, but they usually get their damage through starting fires. So he gets one good hit there on Yami's superstructure, and there we go. He starts one fire on the Yami for 2 fires started in the game so far, and 115 shell hits. So you can see the team is pushing up into C quite well now. Our Gearing's been in there for a while. I believe our Kerr first is pushing in. I don't remember whether the battleship was there with me, but I believe it was a Kerr. Yep, there it is. It's a Kerr first. And I'm hanging back in the Ohio because the Ohio is much better at mid-range, and you should keep it at mid-range if you can. But it can go in and get close if needed, which you'll see. So Eric's sizing up some other targets. He's got the enemy Curvers who's pushing into B, and he's focusing on our other battleship at B. So he pops smoke and gets ready to let his shells fly. Enemy Smolensk has taken out our Hindenburg. And here we go. Very, very Rainbow RX reminiscent of American HE shells. Starts another fire, well, first a fire on the Kerr first. Looks like he's getting some good pins on the superstructure. German battleships are notoriously easy to set on fire because of just their sheer size of their superstructure. There's so much there for the shells to bite into. And is he going to get them? Seeing like 200 damage, 500 damage. Again, not doing a whole lot of damage by sheer pins. More so with the fires. And yep, there he goes. Gets him with a shell hit for his second kill of the game. So friendly Kerr first being really bold and pushing a Kremlin and a Yami at the same time, all while being under fire from a Worcester. Probably not the best idea to push this many ships at one time, especially when they have you surrounded like the Kremlin, Yami, and Worcester does. Because you can't really... I mean, Kerr first can take a beating, but you have to have the pointy end of your ship pointed at most of the ships in order for you to survive said beating. We're in the situation where you've got 2 battleships in front of you, another battleship on the side of you, and a Worcester shooting at you from different angles. You're not going to survive very long. Speaking of Kerr first, Eric is already opening up on another Kerr first. And again, look how long these shells take to get there. They are faster than American shells, I'll give them that. But they're very reminiscent. The arches are of the arcs are of American HE. See, and there I am on the left. I said I'm going to go ahead and push up on this Worcester and this Kerr first because the Cyclone is now moving in. Spotting range is going to drop to 8 kilometers pretty fast. And on top of that, Ohio's already a pretty stealthy battleship. And right here, Eric decides he's going to go with me and support me. Much appreciated. It's always nice when cruisers actually support their battleships. Because cruiser players, and well, everyone's guilty of doing this, they'll be shouting, battleships need to push in, come on BBs push in, battleships why aren't you pushing in? The answer is, well, when we push in and we don't have any support, battleships get absolutely annihilated. But when you have support, even from just a ship or two, you can get some pretty heavy work done. You can get some heavy lifting done. That's what I meant to say. Wow, my brain is fried. So I know there's a Worcester going right around the side of this island and a Kerr first because they're still being spotted intermittently because the storm hasn't fully rolled in yet. So I'll pop my fighter right here to see where the Worcester and Kerr first are because they probably don't have their AA turned off. And sure enough, yep, there they are. So I can just get that last minute ping on them before I go around the corner of the island. Now Eric here looks like he wanted to go around the other side and maybe catch them off guard because they would be expecting to see me and an Ohio come around the corner, but maybe not him. But then he gets detected by what I'm assuming is the Worcester's Hydro. So he can't go around this corner of that island anymore because, well, there are ships off to the right, and the Kerr first would know he's coming around the corner and would just simply blop him from existence. And right now, I am bow-awning the Worcester and letting my secondary chew into him. I hit him pretty good, but it didn't kill him. It was a lot of overpins I did get. I think I got 2 citadels out of him, but the rest were overpins, so he lived. So now this Kerr first is moving up on me, and Eric is now opening up on the Kerr first. He has to show that island who's boss first. Gets some shells right into the Kurfürst turrets. Those bounce, and then look at that. That Kurfürst missed most of its shots from that range, and looked like it bounced with the one that did hit. Starts one fire on the Kurfürst. Still shooting HE into the upper arm of the Kurfürst. Switch over to AP. That's a good choice. He's now shooting the belt armor of the Kurfürst, and he aims for the upper belt armor, which is always where you want to shoot German battleships at close range, and he gets the kill on the Kurfürst. Wooster is dumping AP into my side. I'm staying broadside to him in order to get all my secondaries on him, and the Wooster gets taken out via a fire. Now, what happens here is much less of an oh shit moment for Eric as it was for me, because I didn't know that Yami was there. Eric at least got the warning of the Yami shooting me in my belt armor before he turned his attention on him. And then a Kremlin pops up on top of that. And Eric is now dumping AP into the face of a Yami, which surprisingly he got about 3,000 damage off before he switched back over to HE. But you can see now he's doing pretty dang good with that as well. He's also being detected and targeted because even though he's in smoke, his bloom after he fires is still 5.9 kilometers, and both the Yami and Kremlin are within this range. Kremlin tries to take a bite out of him, but gets a glancing blow for 6,000 damage. Me and Yami are doing a little dance right here, and this is where it gets nuts. I have a Yami and a Kremlin both giving me their full attention, so this gives Eric the chance to just dump all of his shells into them as fast as he can. Gets the kill on the Yami there, finishing him off with a hit for 308 damage. Kremlin rolls up and is giving Eric his full attention, and oh ho 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 ho, that almost got him right there. He's still shooting HE into the side of the Kremlin. Gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 hits with torpedoes. Still shooting HE. Probably should switch over to AP, but given the rush of the moment, I understand why. But thankfully, I managed to get my back turrets around in time and finish off the Kremlin. Now, Eric also lost his rudder in that last exchange between him and the Kremlin. So he's stuck with the rudder hard over port and crashes back into the Kremlin. So, if Eric hadn't gone with me in that situation, the Kremlin and the Yami could have given me their full attention the entire time. Since he was still around, that Kremlin had to make a choice of trying to deal with me or trying to deal with a Smolensk. Being that the Kremlin's a battleship, he most definitely wanted to get rid of the Smolensk first. Smolensk can burn him down a lot faster than me and the Ohio. Because my fire rate's much lower, even though I do have bigger guns. The Smolensk is still just a flamethrower in it, and he made that call, and that gave me the time I needed to turn around and get my turrets pointing at him to take him out. If this had been just me, I probably could have gotten Yami, but I definitely wouldn't have been able to finish off the Kremlin. I would have been dead long before I even had the chance to do that. So the battle is not over yet. We had the ship advantage, but it is slowly being pulled away from our fingers. And we do currently have the points advantage. We have 840-ish points to their 289 points. So for now, we have a one-ship advantage, we have the cap advantage, and we have the point advantage. But this game is not over with yet. So Eric has had a pretty good game so far, but again, look at his fires. He's only started 4 fires with almost 500 shell hits. If he were going off of the previous Smolensk replay, he should have about 15 or 16 fires set already. Because in that previous Smolensk replay, by the end of the match with over 1,000 shell hits, he had 30, I think it was 31 or 32 fires set in that replay. So I'm not sure if with the build that Eric has on here, he has like IFHE and he doesn't have the, it doesn't look like he has, no, he does have signal flags on. But I can't tell really if they are the fire flags or not. But so that's only like a 0.5% chance higher of setting a fire. So it looks like RNG is just really screwing with him this game. So he did have his defensive fire on there when those planes first flew over for a couple of seconds, and well, he's absolutely melting them. And unfortunately, the Hakuru is laying pretty heavily into this Kurfürst, who has now spotted the remaining enemy battleship, which is the Montana. And the Montana actually has most of his health intact. In addition to that, there's also the enemy gearings also off to the Kurfürst's right, and it has dumped torpedoes in the water. They haven't been spotted yet, but they're there. So now it's me in the Ohio, Eric in the Smolensk, and that Kurfürst against Montana and Gearing. But unfortunately, our Kurfürst is almost down. If Kurfürst had more health, made him could easily taken this Montana. But that is not the case, and Eric is now tearing into this Montana with everything he has. He's aiming for a superstructure, which is correct for HE. And you see he's getting some really good salvos out of here, 2,000, 1,000 with his rate of fire. That's chewing down, just going to chew down a large portion of his health pretty fast. Now, the Montana is actually choosing to give him his full attention and not me. Eric considers launching torpedoes there, but he does not want to risk hitting me. Now, he's broadsiding. Ooh, unfortunately, that was mostly overpins for him. He does have his heal. His heal is off cooldown, but he's not using it. And I was shouting at the screen the first time I saw this for him to use his heal. He's down to 3,000 health now. I'm getting closer to him. I'm trying to get him dead. And this Montana's also trying to ram me. He switched over to AP now since Montana's giving him broadside, shooting in the upper armor. Again, the right place when using guns with a small caliber with AP. Gets Kraken unleashed, but unfortunately the Montana manages to get his rear turrets around just in time to finish off Eric. Now, what Eric just did right there, you can't really tell from his perspective, but he just saved my ass there. I was 2 seconds away from unintentionally from that Montana ramming me, and he just saved my butt there, which enabled me to take out the enemy Hakuru, which winds up winning us this game, because Hakuru actually takes me out right here, and it comes down to our Hakuru versus their destroyer, and luckily our destroyer manages to pull it off. I mean, our carrier manages to pull it off. So if it wasn't for Eric, we would not have won this game, because Hakuru and a destroyer against just Hakuru, yeah, that's not a good day for our carrier. It probably would have been sunk, and we would have lost a game from this close. By the time the Hakuru sank me, the points are going to go back down to under 900, and then the destroyer would have been able to get into the C point and stop our points game, and would have been able to just tear into our carry. If you want to see fully what happened, please go check out yesterday's video, and it lets the ending roll through all the way. But still, you got to see Eric's contribution here. Big contribution to the game. He didn't do that much damage in this game. He wound up with 701 shell hits and only 5 fires, which again is, I guess, curiously low for the Smolensk. I'm not sure if his build just brings his chance of fire down that low or what, but only 5 fires with 700 shell hits in the Smolensk. Curious, very, very curious. Again, RNGs is sometimes he's just against you, but regardless, fantastic game from Eric. Excellent support for the team and for me and the Ohio. I would not have been able to have that amazing game that I did if it wasn't for Eric. So I want to show Eric's contribution here on the channel and highlight a very, very, very excellent cruiser player. So anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. We're on our way to 5,000 subscribers, and we're having an excellent start to that. We're already at 4,100. Cannot thank you guys enough for that. It has been an amazing period of growth here on the channel, and again, you guys are awesome and are making it happen. Alright guys, hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday, and hope to see you guys in the next one.